Cancer, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, and asthma are all examples of non-communicable diseases, and sadly, these diseases are the leading cause of death globally. But do they really affect us here in Africa? And are Africans really living with these diseases? Find out here at the African NCD Champions podcast as we share incredible stories of Africans living with non-communicable diseases. My name is Ogweno Stephen and I'll be your host. Let's roll.
All right, thank you very much for agreeing to be hosted by us today.
Thank you.
Today we'll be talking about NCDs and COVID-19 and your experience as a person who has lived with NCDs during COVID-19.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name's David Sageka. I hail from Kisii, but currently I'm living in Nairobi, next to Kenyatta Hospital. I'm a survivor of stroke. Since then I had stroke on the year 2017, February. Good luck I joined the Stroke Association of Kenya. Ambayo ilikuwa inanishughulikia about the stroke. That's when they educate them what a stroke is and how to manage about it. I recall it was on a morning, it was a Monday, 5:35 minutes in the morning. I just feel slightly something like touching me on the right side. Within some seconds, I went off, as when you switch off the right. But I feel in my side that there is a flow of blood towards my mouth. When I tried to take it off, it was hard, except I found on my hand just a strong saliva. I brought it down. The next was my wife was moving out for some functions. When she looked at me, she gave me the story because I went off, I couldn't remember anything because my brain was damaged. She asked me, what's the problem? I was unable to raise even the hand, unable to talk, just having a look, helpless. But within that conversation, I tried to gain. I asked again, nimwambia, get me the taps of you places it on a kunywa through showing the signs. When she gave me the taps to take over, I was just sleeping. I took early. I'm lying on the bed. She asked me, why are you doing? What are you doing? You can't go over and take the tablets. I was unable to talk. In fact, she tried to lift me, but I was very heavy, as 2 bundles of cement, 2 bags. So she was wondering, what is going on? Next there was my daughter, who was coming to university, Nairobi University. On that evening, she was within the house. She just called her, your dad is sick. What is the problem? But finally, as by the story I'm given through them, I tried to show them on this my side is off, it is not working. Through my signs that this side is off, it is not working. When they tried to pull it, I just loll. To any place that I feel now is secure to loll. When I try to stand, I just fall. When I try to sit, I just fall to one side, backward, forward, side and side. In fact, it was a great confusion. Good lucky, within that conversation, there was a neighbor who had a vehicle. They tried to engage him. I was taken to Kenyatta Hospital. After reaching there, I was taken to MLI, and they found that along my brain, the blood vessels within the brain, they were cut about more than 15. So the blood did not flow the other side. That's why it hanged, because I'm explaining how the stroke works and how it happens. So This side now, because it's not receiving blood, it is not receiving nutrients, it's not receiving anything, it just hangs. It's like putting off light on the sitting room while the bedroom corner light is on. So the stroke, let me explain how the stroke happens and how it works. As I've explained already, if it is from the feeling you feel from the left hand, the receiver side, it hangs. But mine was from right to left. So I was left with one side, and the other side is not was working. So I stayed in Kenyatta for about 3 months without knowing what I'm doing. They give me the story. I was communicating, but they cannot understand what I was saying because the damage of the brain is being affected. Major, what was the cause of that stroke? It was pressure. It was, I'm just convincing to anybody, when you hear that is now like we are heading to October, that is pressure day, which is normally being done worldwide. When I was mass specimen taken to know my pressure status, I was told your pressure is low, how can you refer you to a clinic? I said, no, I'm just working. I don't have, because the reception you get from the people who know about it, it was poor, who misled me to think of that poorness. They told you are just sitting, you are not doing anything. Maybe we can refer you to a clinic. And while I was doing construction, very heavy, without knowing, I have a blood pressure. So I think the first time they told me your pressure is 187 over 150. You see, when I heard of that, I said 185 over 150. That's very high. I should be in hospital. Just now, without knowing the cause, now I want to be a doctor, I want to be everything. You see, most of these problems about NCDs, without being going for clinics and being told about it, we just ignore. But later you will see the impact, as mine I'm saying. So they said, no, okay, by today we can leave it, tomorrow we come to check over it. Finally they came and they met me where I was working. Then they took the measurement. They told me now it has reduced to 10. Now on my question, if it has reduced to 10 without taking medication, these people are lying. You see now. In fact, they told me if you can accept, let us refer you for clinic. I said no, I'm not sick.
You refused?
I refused. I'm saying I refused. So it gave me allowance of 6 months. My younger brother, he was doing construction. He wanted to build a house, but professionally I'm building and designing interior. He told me, my elder brother, you are building yours. Many friends have consulted you on these things were not mine. I said, okay, I can help you. I went home. I did everything. When I came, this is when I got the same place where I get not the clinic is where I started my clinic. In fact, it's something I ask myself why it's happened so. Because that place where I ignored my clinic for pressure, it is the place that stroke got me. I did feel that it got me in the house in Kisi. I will not survive because a stroke is something very dangerous. It does not give allowance like diabetic, like cancer, because if your brain is damaged, that is the end. That you hear people roho yangu alipatikana msiba wa roho umepasuka na amekufa. But with the cancer and that is NSDs and whatever, you can be given allowance to manage it. But the stroke, it gives you allowance of 3 hours. If it exceeds 3 hours, the damage you may get is more than the other NCDs. And even average worldwide, they say about 95,000 die every day. which is a
very big number.
It's a big number. And they say about cancer is about 75,000 per day. You see now the stroke is not known, but it's more cause of death in the worldwide. Yeah. So when I talk about a stroke, there are so many causes which makes to have blood pressure, which results to a stroke. Cholesterol in the blood. Let me term it poor behavior of eating. My thumbs I may not talk properly because my therapy is still getting on.
You're still on.
It is on. It's not even cured clearly, but it's a challenge with the stroke. I may say I want to see Henry, where I say Henry. Aaron and Henry, they are similar.
Similar pronunciation.
So when I talk some words, others, I get it clear.
Yeah, I know.
That's the challenge of the stroke. So let me say about our nutrition, what we take in our body. Is it vital to our body? What causes? Why do you? If I ask you, why do you take lunch? Now you can answer me. Why would you take lunch?
Yeah, for me, I actually don't take lunch most of the time. I have like 2 meals a day, so I take supper. But just because the body needs the energy to move.
I can only advise you better you take breakfast heavy, and the lunch you skip
The
supper. Yeah. I have 3 reasons. Number 2. 1, the supper which you take in the evening heavy doesn't help you because you don't need energy when you are sleeping. But when you are working in the morning, you do work, you walk, so the energy is needed more than the night. Now, when I say that, the food normally you take the normal food, you take it more in the night. It is used, but the remaining is converted to cholesterol in the body. That is through research. When we were Cambridge, we were told about it. So another salt is another effect. This sodium. If you Google about what is sodium,
Salt.
you can see. Ever after I see there and Google what is a sodium. Can you go and say what are you to see what I'm saying? So sodium is a reagent, very reactive, and is a metal. Are you getting? So what impact does this salt have in our blood? If you take more salt, when it's interminated within the blood, it sulfies the blood. Blood in a less thick than light, which is not a problem to travel along the arteries, which is the same as cholesterol within the arteries. It causes more pressure. Another cause of the pressure, you have eaten in the night, heavy food, you're on a sleep. It's like putting one sack on your stomach. What would you feel?
Heavy.
So the heart tries to defend itself, just move it away. By doing that, it needs more energy to pump. So it may cause high pressure to your body. So generally, to cut the story off, a stroke is a bad thing once you receive it, of which I may not wish to see somebody with it, because the challenge I go through is so much affecting. Because you don't do anything, you cannot support. I myself, at my age, I was taken to work, so in washing rooms. Everything, kuanzia belt, trained down, you sport, nafariswa, unarunguzwa hapo, you can't wash, yani you feel same. Somebody to know you about your life the way you have, as you are now. You get that baby, just okay, let me wash you. You have no comfortable life.
You become like a baby.
You become like a baby. You lose friends. You are prohibited even from the phone. Many friends talk of you, what is nice doing. I look, how? You are being Given so many words, yeah, you feel, really? Now, there's nothing that you can do in that house. If you follow here, you can stay until you die. For the first time, you cannot help yourself. Even you cannot call. The jaw upper side and the lower, it can't move. It just hang. Yeah. It hangs. So, a stroke is something we talk of is bad, but it's manageable. Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
And the question is between 2020 and this year, like during the COVID-19 era, how was it like living with stroke? What is it?
That's another thing. Really, when we were told over through the media that those people with NCDs, you stay at home. Even if they were saying we stay at home, like now, let's say specify the stroke, you are not even able to walk to anywhere. You just simple exercise, you sit. But the most challenge we had is when we were attending our clinic. My clinic was in Kenyatta, and which was the highest spot for COVID in Nairobi. We were told no doctors, no medicine. For that, we just stay. How can I stay? Because I have a problem of pressure. I have now to control pressure. So you manage to send somebody. If you are a specimen for 2 months, you are just given for a week, a month. No, in fact, the God sickness we survived up to now. Because in our day, you have to take medicine so that you can dismiss pressure. But I can remember it was a worst moment for NCDs or for everybody in the world, whoever who knew what was COVID. But now most people, we do forget when everything is over, and it's not yet over now. Yeah. But what I learned through now, the information I got when I was attending my clinic of a stroke, how to manage it, it gave me time to know that I have to wash my hand, I have to take care, I have to distance myself. So it was a good experience for most NCDs people, because most of things you don't manage as you used to be before you get the problem. And this is the stroke I'm talking. In the worldwide, you will not go anywhere in the world. Somebody anesthesiologist determines that you have a stroke. The stroke is determined when they has caused the impact. If there's anybody can challenge me.
It's not diagnosed before.
It is not diagnosed before, but the causes are diagnosed
before.
Yeah. So, majorly what I can advise the people, let us monitor our pressure, majorly. Even if you go, like you can recall, when you go to hospital, a good doctor, he has to monitor you from pressure, so they can decide, or he, what the process to follow. But if you go to a hospital and you explain to a doctor, I'm feeling this and this, and gives the description, that's very long. Tell him, please monitor my pressure first. If you feel you are feeling headache, you decide to buy the medicine for yourself. You may damage, because you don't know, maybe pressure is high, what's the cause of that headache? So there are so many challenges. Through bad management on our side, it causes a lot in life. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
And the question is, as someone who has lived through stroke during the pandemic, and also now being part of an association of people who are working with stroke, are we better prepared as a people or as a community to handle another pandemic, and what lessons exist?
Okay. Anything is possible, depending, it's like saying security. Security cannot come without you being prepared how to start for security. Yeah, any pandemic like COVID is has to route the information to the government agencies. If we follow the precautions given, it is easier to manage everything. But because That's me, they binadamu ni kichwa ngumu. They want to touch, see and observe. Like Thomas, when he was told I'm Jesus, he wanted to see the nail and touch the body, which was impossible even. So let us follow the precautions given by the agencies or the government officers. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
But that's one thing I want to say.
Yes.
In fact, taking water is important in our body. There are 3 things which helps. It oxygenates the blood so that it can move circulation of the blood
to the
brain. If you take about 10 minutes without oxygen in the brain, you fall and die. Without just even taking water. Initially, people used to say, you can take water 7 glasses. It's not that old. Because my proportion and your proportion the other, it is not the same. Take your weight, divide by 7. That is now the appropriate volume of the water needed in your body. So that's 7. And this 7, how do you reach 8? In the morning, even before any breakfast. Just take slightly warm water so that it will oxygenate the continuity of blood flow. Take after 1 hour, 2 hours, take another 2 cups. And they said, when you take more water, you don't feel hungry. You just feel comfortable. Even the skin, it comes up aside. You know, you are going to katikati hapa kuna space. If you take, even ukienda kwa daktari, unaona anakugusa hivi, ngikugusa hivi, to find, you laugh, and you can take this apart from the that we explain. Ukisikia, it gives sounds, you are missing water. That's only option. If you feel this way. If it gives lashes, you are missing water. Yeah, so water is important in our body than even food. Yeah.
Water is life, they say.
Life is water. So, you have any question?
Yes, no, that was the last one in terms of lessons. So, this is just to thank you very much for agreeing to come and sharing about stroke. People do not know how these things happen, so it's very important that they, through stories and experiences, they get to know how they happen and as a result, how they can control them. So thank you very much for agreeing to come.
Thank you, sir.
Now that was incredible. Thank you for listening in. Share this with your networks and follow us on all social media at Storylink and at NCD Champions. See you on the next one.